So I was asked this question the other day. I was supposed to, obviously, if you remember a few months ago, I was supposed to go for the local town election this year, basically, and I decided not to. But I was asked a very reasonable question today about the elections and stuff, the local town and national elections too, and referendums too. And it's to do with compulsory voting. You see in a few other countries that you have to vote. You're made vote, basically. You have to vote either one way or the other, basically. You're made do it. You're made take part. Now, I know the person who was talking to was saying, full on people should be made to do it, I think he's been misled a good bit because he says people would, bring down the end of the government if everybody voted, everything in the country just voted. Uh, I don't know, do you mean non-nationals and stuff like that? I don't think so. But he's like, it could be a big change if everybody got up and voted because a lot of people are not bothered to vote. And that is the case in a lot of cases. Like I over the last few years, I've just heard people constantly saying, it doesn't matter who you vote for because it's just all the same. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, Labour Party, they're all the same basically. They're all just the fuck you over in every conceivable way. Excuse my language, but that's just the truth. Like Sinn Féin and the Labour Party and people before Profit, they're just the same as Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. They're just a different name. Sinn Féin a bit more radical, obviously, than Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. They're just full on communists at this stage. They don't believe in private property. They don't believe in anything basically. They only believe in their socialist agenda. Uh, they're not the nationalist party that maybe were back years ago. I could go on and on and on Sinn Féin, but basically they're nearly the same as Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, but a lot more radical. And same with people for profit, just Stalinist agendas basically, and Leninist agendas. Um, and I know this is not a heap piece into that, but it's just my opinion on what I was saying. But so yeah, I don't think people should be made do it. Made folk go out and vote and stuff, and get a fine for not voting or prison or anything like that. I don't think we should do that. Democracy is all about the will. If you have the will of the people, and it's about choice and it's about freedom. Your freedom to choose, what you do, etc., etc. That's what democracy is all about. So, and I think as a democracy, obviously the moment in time we're fucking democracy is not even the word to use in this country. It's kind of like a totalitarian state. It's just a one two party dictatorship. Uh, because we see the moment with what's happening around the country, people just being rammed in the middle of the night into places, and people are protesting every day of the week and just being ignored. So with that, and that's quite democracy. Just people being ignored, and when they're asked reasonable questions, they're shouted down as far right, etc., etc. And that's democracy apparently in this country. But hey ho, we continue. But I think people should have the choice to, if it's a democracy, if it's questionable. The people can say, I don't want to vote. There's nobody I like to vote for. Basically, I'm just be going just to be seen to vote. Because generally is people I know, mainly elderly people and stuff like that. They as I say, all the parties are just the one. They're just kind of a different logo and a different symbol. They're just basically all the one. They're just looking after themselves, looking after themselves, and looking after the shareholders of the party and stuff like that. They don't give a shit about the only Joe. The only time they ever seem to give a shit is when the election comes up. They promise you the moon and the stars. But when after the election, you never see them again into the next election. And if you wing them and stuff like that, you better get through to them. They'll ignore you. It's just rinse and repeat. And I said it, and I think when I was talking to this person too, he was saying about lowering the voting age. Now I was in favour of this a few years ago. I will admit this. That young people should have a choice, like a vote at 16 or so, a bit younger than 18 at the moment. But and back then I was like, young people should have the opportunity to vote for their future and stuff like that, what they want for their future. And they should learn how to participate in democracy and stuff like that. And how elections work and stuff like that. That kind of stuff. But again, this is the thing I'm saying, that they're led down the garden path. Like Sinn Féin will literally hold the cow to their face and say, this is a free house and everything. If you vote our party, we make sure every young person in the country gets a free house, a free car, free this, free everything, free everything. But then if they ever do win the election and stuff like that, there'd be fuck all done for them. They'd be just left on their own. That'd be it. Sinn Féin, it's not the solution to anything. But it's a big hit piece on Sinn Féin. But let's just put it this way: they're just literally at this stage Sinn Féin, particularly Sinn Féin, other parties too. They're literally leading people down the garden path, and hoping that they will go with them on everything and just refuse to accept the truth and look at the truth and just face the truth, because it's hard for people to face the truth when they made a wrong decision and stuff like that. Usually a lot of people in denial and stuff like that. And that's okay, it's a human symptom, but even many people will never admit they're wrong and stuff like that, even when it's just straight in their face. But so I'm not really in favour. Back then I was, but I say the age that is at the moment, 18, is the most sensible option, because your brain, even though it's 2 years in the difference, your brain fully develops by 18 or so, or a bit older than that. But basically, you would have more cop on and should have more cop on to who you should vote for, because it does have an effect on the country and your local community. It does have effect. So it's important to think about it, and particularly young people, whatever they get for free, they won't look into it anymore. They just kind of just vote. They're not like me, just questioning everything. You're not supposed to do that. That's not democracy found in this country. When you question authority and stuff like that, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just sit down, shut up, and say nothing. But anyway, I can test. That will happen. Yes. So definitely, I think the voting age should be 18. Should be left as it is. Even though it is important for young people to have a vote, but I think they should be able to. You'll get a grip, because I think at 16 too, they wouldn't be that educated in democracy and what it could mean if you vote the wrong person in, because you need to know who you're voting in. You can't just vote in any fucker. Particularly if you're TD or your things that in high positions, whatever, about a council or the local area. You don't really have much power as a local councillor. Obviously they do, brown envelopes and stuff happen every day of the week, but you don't have much power, so it's not really that effective as a councillor. But yeah, so so that's what I take. And I think people should have the choice to vote in elections, either be referendums, general elections, presidential elections, because at the end of the day, democracy is all about a choice. You have a choice in what you do. You have the freedom to choose what you do. If you want to vote, you can vote. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. And I think that's just the best way. As a democracy, it's a so-called democracy we are at the moment, but that you have the choice, because at the moment in many countries too, you don't have the choice. But I would always say to people to always vote in elections, even though I'm not one of elections and stuff like that. I would still always use my vote. I would always vote for one person or the other. Well, I try to anyway, bring myself around to voting for someone. But I would always use my vote, because a lot of people, we have to remember, a lot of people died for our country's independence, even in carving the War of Independence. So, and they give us the right to choose who we represent, who represents us and stuff like that. It's important to remember that people had to fight hard for independence, and the main thing of democracy is you have the right to choose who represents you in the Dáil, in different parliaments, in the local authority, as your spokesman, basically. So it's important for democracy. Thank you.